Hi, lovely people. We're still in the Ashanti region, Kumasi, Bantima to be precise. And today we will be visiting the Okomfo Anokye Sword. And as you know, with the tourism, we are always exhibiting beauty, showcasing nature. So wonderful viewers, today we are here inside the Okomfo Anokye Teaching Hospital where the Okomfo Anokye Sword is sited. And as you already know, with the tourism, we are always exhibiting beauty, showcasing nature. I'm always Angie's Boat. And today I'm here with my tourist guide. Mr. What's your name?
Gordon Frimpong.
Okay, Mr. Gordon Frimpong. Today we are here to know more about the Okomfo Anokye and the sword. Sir, please, who is Okomfo Anokye and how is he related to the Ashanti Kingdom?
Thank you very much for your question. Okomfo Anokye was the legendary priest who helped to form the Ashanti Kingdom and was a best friend of ours, Okomfo II, the first king of Ashanti Kingdom, and he was also the chief of Aguna, and he also laid to command the Golden Stool, which is the highest stool of allegiance, and at the same time the throne of the king of Ashanti.
So meaning that is how he is related to the Ashanti Kingdom. Okay, so sir, can you brief us about the Okomfo Anokye sword, when and how it was planted?
Thank you. Okomfo Anokye sword was planted here around 1695, as I told you, by the legendary priest Okomfo Anokye. And before the sword was planted here, there were no particular group of people or individual known as Asante. In fact, the name Asante wasn't in existence then. The kingdom was formed here around 1695 on the day this sword was planted here. And what brought about the sword here was that, as I told you, there were no Asante kingdom, but we were having a group of people living in individual states. And many of these groups were Akans. And for the Akans, they always fight among themselves for power. And when we are talking about power, power is about people, as well as the wealth to move with them. So if you want to become powerful, you need to get the people and the wealth to move with them. Because if you want to say I'm a powerful man, I need to have more followers. So the number of followers I have will tell or determine how powerful I could be. So how are you going to get the people and the wealth? You need to go to war. When one wage war and win or defeat, you get land. And when you have the land, automatically the people living on the land, you can't drive them away. So if you treat these people good, they will be your followers. But if you don't treat them good, they will fight against you. So based on wars and conquests, they were fighting among themselves. So it got to a point, one of the states among them called Denchra became very powerful. In fact, some of the states were Denchra, Adanse, Akwam, Aguna, Mampon, Ofenso, Ejiso, Kwaman, Kumawu, and etc. All these states were Akan states which were fighting among themselves. So the Denchra state became one of the powerful states. Whenever they go to war, they will conquer a lot of states. So they decided to sit back home for the number of states that they have conquered to come and serve them. And what happened was that every 40 days, people from these individual states have to go to Denchra to serve them. When they go, they will be maltreated. And some of the people realized that the kind of treatment given to them by Denchra state was inhuman. So they need to look at it again. And they got to know that if you look at the number of states that go to Denchra to serve, even if two of them comes together, it will be difficult for the Denchra state to stand before them. Yet they do to all of them, all because there is no unity among them. Then they decided that we have to come together, because when you go to the Nchran, they are doing to you, because I'm not from the same place with you, I don't care. When they are doing to me, you don't care. But if you go and they care for each other, this thing can continue. So some of the states decided to come together as a group to wage war against the Nchra. And this place was a typical forest then, so they decided to have a meeting in a forest at this particular point where we are sitting today for this discussion to be taking place. When they came, they all agreed to come together, but their problem was who would be their leader, because as they were coming from their various states, they were all leaders and came here with their position, and they wanted to have this position back home. So it became difficult for them to choose a leader, because even if they vote, everybody will vote for himself. So in the end, we will not get a leader. It was here that the priest Anokye advised that if we are all interested to be a leader, it means we cannot choose a leader for the group. So we need to go back home, pray and fast for 3 days, and ask for the ancestral guardians and the supreme being guardians to come and help us get a leader. So they all went and came back. But before they left, Okomfo advised that when they are coming back, they should come along with their black stools. When we say the black stool, the akonyatuntum, the black stool is the Akan chief's symbol of office. It's his symbol of power, symbol of his authority, and symbol of his status. So they should bring these all sacred stools around, so that the ancestral spirit will be around to help them get a leader. So they all agreed, went and came back on the 3rd day, and they came along with their black stools. And a big Durbar took place here. And in the middle of the Durbar, the priest Anokye stood to invoke the gods for a stool made up of gold to be conjured from scars. That is the golden stool. And it came and fell onto the laps of one of them called Osei Tutu. Osei Tutu was the then chief of Kwaman. Kwaman is now known as Kumasi, so making him unquestionable leader. He was given a sword to swear to protect the people and the stool. They also sworn to protect the stool and Osei Tutu, who is the occupant of the stool. Okomfo advised that they should all take note that the stool that we have today, or they have today, is going to be the embodiment, the continuity, and even the soul of the group. So even if their lives, they should try as much as possible to fight to defend the stool and the occupant. The same thing happens to the occupant. He should try to fight to defend the stool even with his life and the people. Then he said, before we were coming here, we came here as an individual. So it's time for us to unite. It's time for us to come together. So part of individual hair and fingernails were collected. He brought them together, burnt this into ashes. In Akan they will say moto. Yeah, it turned into moto or into ashes. And he put some of these ashes into a palm wine for all of them to drink as a covenant. Then he dig a big hole and collected all the black stools that they brought along. He buried those stools with the rest of the ashes from their burnt hair and fingernails, and kept the sword on top, and said to them, if you go and you come back for your stool, this unity will collapse. In fact, he even gave a prophecy that there will be a time, if you come to this place with sickness or any diseases and you did not get medicine, it will be difficult for you. This place, a time will come, people will come from here, people will go from here. Meaning people will born here, people will die here. That prophecy came through the time they built up the hospital here.
It's really getting interesting, viewers. So our next question, between the sword and the hospital, which one was built first?
As I was saying, I made mention that the legendary priest made a prophecy that there will be a time people will born here, people will die here. People who come here with sickness and do not get medicine or do not get healing will be finding it difficult to stay on this earth. After the sword was planted here, the sword was planted here, as I told you, around 1695. And the hospital was built early 1950s. Yes. So the sword was here before the hospital was.
So then, sir, is that the reason why the hospital was named after Okomfo Anokye?
Yes, of course. He's a legend. And in Akan, there is a saying that Osamampani Yetuni Bedin. He did very well for Asante Kingdom. And, Okomfo Anokye was a prophet. He was a doctor. He was a pastor. He was everything. He was a lawyer, everything. So, based on his prophecy and what you are seeing here, tells you clearly that what he said is what is happening now today here.
Oh, okay. So, say, with the location of the sword, what is the sanitation and security, system around it?
The sword, we have a lot of security. You find it within the hospital yard, and we have a lot of security around the hospital. And now, when we are talking about technological aspects, we have CCTV cameras also around that covers here. And as you see, it's within a hospital. Let me tell you something. It's now a tourist site. It's a heritage site now, and a heritage site or tourism site is not just for entertainment reasons. We establish tourism sites to heal people. So people who comes here with sickness can even be healed. People who are depressed can go to museums, tourist sites, any tourist site like it being a museum, it being a heritage site, and based on what they will see there, based on how they will feel there, can even heal them from their sickness. So based on that, sanitation is one of our priority, because we can't have a tourist site unless you are doing a tourism site that is talking about maybe waste, that you also try to promote waste and poor sanitation, for people to know when you talk about poor sanitation how it's like. You understand? Okay.
So, wonderful viewers, I can see you are really enjoying the show, but we still have to go to the museum to see what is in there. So let's go and come.
Ogun sawa na watwa mo amogya egu so abom ti se wodwa fitaa a hwe ni mu na oye amambre no ti abra amani nyina aka bo mu na nyina se yenya obi a obedi leader of the Asante na se ohena obedi da Asante mani ni mu ti amai du ba kono obi anso epe obi anso deserve senka otimi the leader no ti komfo no chi decide say okay obi anko fi obi anko e fast sa 3 days time no omo samra back ti abra omo ko e fast sa 3 days time no buy no na komfo no decide say amai du ba kono obi antena se na oba bewe ensentreni obe commande bibi FUI if the secretary coffee wo eba be si una so no hia so na be the leader of the Asante.
So welcome back, wonderful viewers. Sir, helping us know the security and sanitation system around, what is the link between the Menchia Palace, the Ghana tourism and the sword site?
Thank you very much. Definitely we have a link with the Ghana Tourist Board, because tourism industry in Ghana being being controlled by the Ghana Tourist Board. You can't do away from them. And this is part of Manshia Palace. You know, as I told you, this is where the golden stool was conjoined. You know, this is something that Asantema it's one of the hearts of the Asante or the Asante Kingdom. It's the heart of Asante Kingdom. So it has a strong link with Manshia Palace, and because of this site is being controlled and managed by the management of Manshia Palace Museum. The site have a strong relationship with Ghana Tourist Board, since the Tourist Board or the Ghana Tourism Authority is in charge of tourism in Ghana. And we are operating within Ghana as well, so we can't do anything without the consent of Ghana Tourist Board or Ghana Tourism Authority. And this place too is being managed by Manshia Palace Museum, since the sword site is also one of the heart or one of the foresight or the eye of the Asante mine or Asante Kingdom. It has a strong relationship with Manshia Palace because it's being controlled by Manshia. The museum, the management from Manshia Palace Museum managed the sword site because this is a very important place to Asante mine.
Yeah. Is there any rules and regulations governing the sword?
Yes, you can have an institution without rules and regulation because you have staff and you have visitors coming in, so you have rules and regulations.
And is there any souvenir that people can come in for?
Yes, of course. When you come here, we have a souvenir, we have a mini gift shop that we have books, rings and other souvenirs that tourists can have.
So we'd also want to know if you would want people for partnership concerning the sword site.
Yeah, you know, when you are talking about partnership, this is a management question that you are asking me. But you know, in museums everywhere in the world, it depends on fundings, because museum is not for profit making. Museum is for education. It's to educate the people and for the future generations to know what happened in the past. So it's much better that when people want to support, it helps to improve upon exhibitions, and it also helps to send exhibition from its location to the people. For instance, we have schools, that exhibition, we can send the exhibition to them in the schools, and all these things can be done based on fundings.
Okay, so sir, is there any way to see more development in the sword site?
Yes, because we can't just leave it like that. We are planning for, we even plan for expansion to add other exhibition to it, because as I'm speaking to you now, most of the story here centered on the sword. And we need to, in future, we are planning to expand it. We have to go beyond the sword and add other articles to it.
Okay, so with all this information, is there anybody you would want to acknowledge?
Yes, you know, the acknowledgement will go to the Asante Hene, who is the occupant of the golden stool. It's through his intelligence that we have this being operating, and Amahene and the board and management of Manshia Palace Museum, the creator of Manshia Palace Museum, and the staff of Manshia Palace Museum, and not them alone, the staff of Okomfo Teaching Hospital, they have also been of help to this sword site. Anytime there is a need, they will rush in here, come and support us, or come and look at it and see how best they will approach it.
Okay, so said, we'd also want to know, does the sword have any impact on the hospital?
You know, actually, it doesn't have that impact. I don't know the impact in the way you want to ask. I would say it have impact because some of the people who come in here to see their patients. Some of them will come and hang around, and some people will come here, and when they come here after having a tour here, you can see they have been relieved from depression and from their stress, even going back to the world to see the condition of their patients, their relatives. When they come back here after having a tour here, you can see their demeanor, you can see that they have they have getting their normal pressure. Sometimes they will go there and they will feel depressed. But when they come here and have a good tour, they will be relieved.
Okay, so we are still at the Okomfo Anokye Sword site. On the tourism, we always exhibit beauty, showcasing nature. So our next question, is the place open for public visitation?
Yes, Okomfo Anokye Sword site is open from 9 in the morning to 4:50 in the evening, and it's open every day, including public holidays. Yeah.
So please, which people are welcomed here? Do you have any type of people you want to welcome here?
I said it's open to the general public, so you don't have a particular group of people who comes here. Everybody can come here. Yes, being a Ghanaian or non-Ghanaian, being kid or adult, you can come here.
Okay, sir, so you said it is open to the public. Is it free?
No, gate fee, we charge gate fee based on your category. Yes.
Okay, so wonderful viewers, since we all want to promote tourism in Ghana here, let's all participate. What are your last words to the viewers?
Thank you very much. What I will tell viewers is that the Sword site is open to them every day. Like I said, including public holidays, being a church or group, fan club, schools, you can visit here. And I also advise, we want to promote tourism in Ghana, so I also try to advise viewers that in their various towns or cities, they can also look around and see what could be a potential tourism site that they can also bring it up so that we can develop that for tourists to come and see, and that will also help to promote tourism and to expand tourism in Ghana, because it shouldn't be a way that when visitors or tourists come to Ghana, they will come only to Kumasi, Cape Coast, Accra, Cape Coast, Takoradi, Accra and Elmina alone. They should go to other places as well. So whatever they do in their various towns, we can convert that one into tourism for people to come and see that one as well.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time, Mr. Frimpong. We are so grateful. Okay, so wonderful viewers, we're still at the Okomfo Anokye Teaching Hospital at the Okomfo Anokye Sword site, exhibiting beauty, showcasing nature. That is all about the tourism with your girl, Angie's Boots. So the program is tourism. I'm Angie's Boots. Please, what's your name?
I'm Richard Kojo-Adumaku.
Kojo-Adumaku. Please, have you been here before?
Yes, this is my third time.
Okay, please, can you share your experience with us?
You see, I'm an African, a Ghanaian, and Ashanti. And I thought it wise letting my children know their roots and culture, because it's unfortunate that these days, if you can speak a foreign language well, people respect you, and we are throwing away our native or mother tongue, and again our history. But for us to be identified as Africans, we need to know our roots. Therefore, I want my children to know our roots so we can preserve our culture.
So that is what you learned there. Can you tell us something special, something that really marveled you when you entered in there?
When I entered in there, I saw that Okomfo Anokye main this thing was to promote unity amongst the Ashantis. And indeed, when the chiefs gathered and he was able to bring the Goldings to, it has symbolized something about African unity, and up until now, it has made the kingdom of Ashanti very great, and I'm proud of that.
Okay, thank you for your experience shared. It's all about the tourism, exhibiting beauty, showcasing nature. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, wonderful viewers, this is where we draw the curtains. It's all about the tourism, exhibiting beauty, showcasing nature. Bye-bye.